Welcome to Imperfect Momming. Our children are constantly looking to us for examples. The term role model doesn't quite cut it here. We are shaping their worldview with every move we make. You see, it's not in the lectures we give or moments where we are actively attempting to teach them. It's in the micro movements we make, the unconscious ways in which we navigate life. We are constantly teaching our children how to show up for themselves, their friends, their future partners, and even their future children. So what can we do to ensure we are raising thoughtful, compassionate, self-aware human beings? We have to become them ourselves. No one is perfect, but we can still all be better, and it starts with self-healing. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Imperfect Momming, and we have a couple of special guests today. If you're watching the video, you can kind of see my son. Phantom son inside the virtual background. And we have Samantha Giles. Welcome to Imperfect Momming.
Thank you for having me.
And we were having a whole conversation about how your last name is the same as the Buffy character Giles, and now we know that we have a lot in common.
Yes, and the best kinds of things in common too.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Samantha Giles. We discussed that a little bit, and pronounced like the librarian from Buffy. And I am a social media marketer / moving into consulting. And the reason I shifted, I know I'm jumping a little ahead here, is because when I was doing my packages for my clients and I was creating all their content and stuff like that, there was always this part where I finished the content, they loved it, but then when I was checking up on them, they weren't posting them. I was like, dude, what happened? I thought we loved what we wrote. And they'll be like, yeah, but. And honestly, as somebody who's, I'm not going to say controlling, but very like passionate about helping people succeed. And it's like, you came to me to succeed and you're missing this huge chunk of what we were talking about. Like, I want to be able to have people invest in that. Like, invest in me, not only as an accountability partner, but somebody who's going to be, I'm actually adding this to my contract that if you don't post it within 3 days of saying you're going to post it, since I have your login information, I'll post it. You give me permission to post it, basically, by not posting it. But only after everything's been approved, of course. Like if they're like, yeah, these are all good, let's post them. If you're not posting it, I will, because we're doing this to get outside that box, to get into that shift, to fall in love with your offer and your brand and your business. And that's another thing I want to help people do, is like, I want to help them with this new consulting package to understand who their target audience is. So you can find those people that are Buffy lovers, or find those people that truly need what you have and that don't mind swearing, or loves the fact that you can go on a 20-minute rant about baby names and then turn the subject back around and leave the conversation with an amazing piece of advice or an aha moment. Like, I want my clients to feel comfortable going up and serving their people and loving their offer so much that they can't help but talk to people about that offer. Like, when you love your shampoo products, you tell everybody for free. So I want people to fall in love with that offer too. And I'm going to help them and guide them through that whole love my offer, love my audience so much that I can't stop shouting it from the rooftops. And I can't wait to get on a call with somebody, because even if I can't serve them as a client, then I can serve them in some other way, and I get to have this person in my network. So win-win either way. So those sales calls don't come off as devastating when it becomes a no. So I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, I feel your passion, and I'm like thinking about all the things that I've been learning recently that you're just touching on, and I'm learning as an entrepreneurial coach. My coach created a program called Entrepreneurial School for Coaches, because a lot of the stuff that you're talking about is what coaches struggle with. So, and not just coaches, but people struggle with visibility. They struggle with their messaging. They struggle with understanding why they're doing what they're doing and who their clients are and who they're, all of the stuff that you just mentioned. People struggle with that, and they struggle long enough that they quit.
Yeah.
And because they're not getting the financial results that they want, or they're just not having fun or enjoying their business at all. And that's really cool that you're seeing that people are doing that, and then you're coming up with a way to help them, and even have some accountability. If you don't post, I will.
Well, it honestly, it really came from the fact that when you're paying attention to your process and you're paying attention to what you can do to make your client experience like greater and serving the 110%, you realize there's gaps. And when you understand that you have the capability of filling in that gap without like adding extra work on your plate, like I was doing all this stuff for free anyways, except for posting on their, like I wasn't like forcingly posting for people, but like it was something I was capable of doing without adding too much more on my plate. And I was finally going to get paid for it because I was doing it for free. Because down a little rabbit hole, sorry. But like I actually had so many clients of mine stop working with me after like 3 or 4 months because they would realize that what they wanted, like what the message we were putting out there, and the more I kept pushing from them and trying to get out of them, was no longer aligning with what they felt they wanted. So they would leave me, hire a coach, and then like work on building that up and then having a whole new business by the end of it. And it's like, well, I don't want that for my clients. I don't want to have somebody leave me to get another piece of service when honestly I can do it. Like I can offer that same value, and I already have an understanding of the background, where they're coming from, and getting that voice, So it's basically just helping them go, okay, let's shift this. What true message do you want? Because it's like I was tired of losing people. I mean, I didn't mind it because they were growing, but it's like at the same time, it's like we're just making progress. But I wasn't at the position at that time to help them get there. So now I am. So it works out.
Yeah, and you saw a need and you filled it, and you learned essentially how to do that, which is, the mark of a good businesswoman. I want to read a post of yours that I commented on.
Oh gosh.
Because I think it's appropriate for our audience. And I think that was a good conversation. But you said that you wake up every morning at 4 a.m. Okay, sometimes 5. Or was it? Yeah, sometimes at 5. But Monday through Friday, and that's your time. And it's time you spend working out and getting your intentions straight. And if it wasn't for this moment of clarity, showing up would be really hard. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh yes. So I wrote that post pretty much after I got a coach myself. And I realized that I was only waking up at 5 to like help my husband get ready for work. And then I'd sit around and binge watch TV. And then when the kids woke up, it was like rushing around doing all this stuff. So then I heard like she was talking about journaling and meditating and all this stuff. And my first thoughts were, oh my gosh, where am I going to find the time, you crazy lady? Like, I don't have this time. And so she made me do the most important thing I ever thought or never thought I'd have to do, and that's a time audit. And it's something I make my clients do now too. It's like, really, you don't have the time? Let's find out how truthful that is. And after my time audit, I realized I'm a morning person. You really got to follow your energy here.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized I'm a morning person. So waking up an hour earlier for me isn't going to bother me. And it allowed me to sit down and go, okay, I open my calendar. I go, this is my appointments for today. So it's okay, good. Okay, I'm not feeling overwhelmed. These are my appointments. And I was able to do some meditation and allow myself to really just get focused and remind myself how present I was. And it reminded me also of my goals for that day. I'm a huge believer of breaking down goals to daily tasks so it's not too overwhelming, and just setting those intentions for like, this is what I have to work on, no less, no more. It's as simple as reaching out to 10 people. And I tell myself, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, I don't know, just reminding myself also, because I do a lot of affirmations and things, of how big of a badass I am. I tell myself that I am a goddess. I treat myself as such, and I expect others to respect that. And just reminding myself that I am enough and I am worthy of that, it really gets me fired up.
Mm-hmm.
And then even though I don't start working until 9 a.m., like just that hour or so at the beginning just really helps drive the rest of the day. Because when you set that emotional intention for the rest of the day, it really helps remind you that things will be okay. Like your kids are going to wake up cranky, but you are enough. You got this. You are a goddess. And, they bend, they don't break. So like, let's do this. So I don't know. It's very powerful to just wake up and know that this is my time. I don't have to worry about my husband's lunches. I don't have to do anything. And even if I choose not to work out, I'm just like, it's okay because I'm here and I'm mindfully present and this is me. Like, yeah. I don't know, it's powerful. And I know you mentioned that you can't do that anymore because you got pregnant. And I remember responding. Go ahead.
Yeah, the next part where I stopped reading was, you said, even when the kids wake up early, I will sit them on the couch and I will let them watch me go through the process of setting myself up. And I thought that was pure brilliance, because one of the things, I think one of the most important things about self-care, besides taking care of yourself, is modeling that for your kids. But if when they wake up, you dismantle your routine because their routine has disrupted it, then you're not showing them that first of all, you're not taking care of yourself anymore. You've just shifted them into above taking care of yourself, but now they're also not seeing it. And so my alarm goes off every day at 5 a.m. And because I'm considerate, my alarm vibrates instead of ringing, because I sleep next to somebody who's not a very heavy sleeper, and I let it snooze ever since I've been pregnant. So, or I should say, that's what I've been trying for the last week, because that 5 o'clock alarm hits different right now. But if I let it snooze 3 times and then I turn it off, if I fall back asleep, I fall back asleep, because I have another alarm set for 5:50 when I actually need to get up. But if I don't fall back asleep, then I'll get up, and I don't have a real routine per se. I just play video games on my phone. But this morning, my alarm went off, and then the dog barked, which scared the crap out of me. And a minute later, my son walks into my room, and that scared the crap out of me. And we had our gardeners disrupt a lot of the the word I'm looking for. The flowers and there's a word, starts with a B, I think. Anyway. Pregnancy brain. Yeah.
Oh yeah, pregnancy brain.
But foliage, it's not even a V. They pulled up a lot of the flowers. Anyway. And because of that, I think that we now have a mosquito infestation inside of our house. And I must have the most disgusting tasting blood on earth, because I've gotten 4 bites while both my boyfriend and my son have gotten 50 of them. And they are more allergic than I am. I've been training myself since I was 16 to not scratch bug bites, because if you don't scratch them in the first 24 hours, they don't itch anymore. And I had a whole conversation this earlier today with somebody about this, but my son and my boyfriend both scratch them until they're bleeding and disgusting. And anyway, so that's why he woke up, because his mosquito bites were itchy. And because I don't have this routine necessarily that I do, you know, I just sat on the couch with Xander, and he goes, if this is your me time, like, I don't have to bug you. And I was like, honestly, I'm good. I haven't gotten to sit and snuggle with you on the couch in a while. So I'm totally fine with this being, you know, my me time, hanging out with you. And, but I also, like, I guess I'm rambling and saying is that it's okay to do both. It's just about taking care of yourself and your needs.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be flexible, because we like to be not flexible in our routines or whatnot. That's I like to not be flexible sometimes.
I love the word flexibility, because that's my entire life. And I could go on a whole different rant about that, but flexibility.
You have like 4 kids, right?
I have 2 actually.
I thought, okay, maybe it was somebody else, but I thought you had 4.
It feels like 4. One's got ADHD and sensory processing disorder, so he feels like an extra 2 kids, but we love him anyway. And then my dog, I swear, he's the biggest baby ever.
Yeah.
He sleeps right beside me. He's like a mama's boy. Like, I've been walking my kid to school, and he like whines and howls and cries because mommy's not there. It's like, okay, you're fine. But yeah,
I swear this dog just realized that I'm pregnant, because all of a sudden he is clingy.
Oh, wait, is that why you've been clingy? No, I'm kidding. Anyways, but yeah, I'm actually surprised. Like, I'm glad that you said that was a real good moment. And it took me such a long time to get to that. It's okay to just set them there and not pay attention, but like just continue with my routine, because it took a lot of, well, not a lot actually, it wasn't really a lot, but I had to get over that mom guilt of like, oh, they're not getting a drink, they're not getting their water, they're not getting whatever. It's like, no, I get their drinks ready the night before, it's in the refrigerator, they both know how to get there. If they're hungry, they know where the Pop-Tarts are for a quick breakfast or whatever, they're fine. And then another part of that guilt was, I normally ask them like, oh, how did you sleep? Like, blah, blah, blah. But now it's like, no, like, you're not even supposed to be down here. I'm not pretending you're a ghost or anything, but we are going to sit quietly for another half hour or whatever, however long they've woken up for. And I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. You're going to silently do what you're doing. And it's fun because sometimes they join me. Like, if I'm doing my affirmations, I say them out loud, and I hear my daughter repeating it. My son says it in his head, and it's good, because it's like, okay, now we're all doing it. And I don't know, like, for some reason, once I realized that it wasn't harming anybody for me to just let them sit there for a half hour, like, and while I read my last chapter of my book, I read a chapter a day, but now I have 2 books I'm reading. So I've been reading a chapter of one book and a chapter of another book for personal and entertainment, basically. So Jen is awesome. So she's basically entertainment as well. But I'm like, it doesn't harm them. And if it wasn't them coming down here to disrupt me, they would have just been hanging out in their room for a half hour. So what's the difference? They either see this or they don't. It's fine. And I know a lot of people are probably watching this or listening and they're like, well, I have a younger child, I have a baby, so they're going to wake up crying and I'm going to have to take care of them. But as a mom with a kid that's raised babies, I also know that once you get them to a certain point, they're capable of just laying somewhere while you spend 15 minutes just browsing a magazine or brushing your hair. Or heck, I know when my littlest was younger, or my oldest was younger, I'd lay him on my knees, and I'd brush my hair in front of him and he'd laugh because he thought I was playing a game. Like, oh yeah, I'm brushing my hair. And I show him my eyeballs and stuff. I'm like, these are my eyes. And I'd wash my face and tell him all my body parts that I was washing. So not only am I educating him, I'm doing some self-care. And he'd love it because I would also do facial masks and my face would change colors. And I'd be like, oh, mommy's putting on a green mask today. I don't know. It was educational and self-care. And they were babies. So
yeah, that's so cool. That's like that. What came to my mind while you were talking about, like, well, the moms that, say, I have younger kids or I have more kids or whatever the case may be, like, I was going to think of a really awful example. I'll try to think of a better example. If you are a work out of the home mom, your kids know nothing else but a mom that works out of the home. And if you are a stay-at-home mom, your kids know nothing but a stay-at-home mom. If you got divorced when your children were under a year old, they know nothing else but that example. And so when your kids are young, you get to train them the way that you choose to train them, and they don't know any other way. So the really bad example I was going to give a worse one, but this is a bad example too. But a child who is beaten every day doesn't know any other way than that reality. That's their reality. And the only time that they know a difference is when they go to their friend's house and that their friend's mom doesn't beat them every day. You know what I mean? Like, and that even saying that example hurts my heart. But
I chuckled, but only in the sense like, oh my God, that was really a terrible example. But yeah,
I had even a worse one that I heard in the coaching thing. But it's the reality is that your kids don't know any other reality. I thought of the divorce example because that my son was 14 months old when we got divorced, and I remember feeling guilty in that moment because my parents also divorced when I was under a year old. And then literally today I thought about it and I was like, he didn't know any other way. I didn't know any other way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's 10 and he's like, how come mom and dad aren't together? Because every kid wants to know that. But he really didn't know any other way. And so we use how we were raised as the example, thinking that our kids are going to know that, if our mom didn't do that, then our kids are going to know that we're doing something different than what our mom did. And the reality is that they don't.
I got a better example for you. Okay. That you can use in the future. And it's only because I am in a bunch of amputation groups, and there's this mother, and she lost her from the knees down. She doesn't have legs, and she's wheelchair. So she raised her baby with never having really walked with him. And so when he goes to school, he's older now, and now he speaks with her at conferences and like things like that. But he always talked about how before he went to school, he thought every mom had no legs. Like he saw his grandma, he saw like other women, but like he just thought like this was it. This is moms just like were built like this. And then he went to school and he learned that that's not the case. And it didn't make him like change his feelings towards his mom at all. In fact, it gave him a new sense of power towards his mom. Like, wow, my mom doesn't have legs and she was still capable of bathing me because she was a single mom with legs. Like, how crazy is that? Like, we all talk, and I'm not saying this to like hate on anybody who's like, oh, well, I can't even get up and bathe my kids and I have both my legs. That's not what I'm saying. Right. I'm just saying, like, you don't have to compare yourself, but like, if there is a want in your heart to do something, you will find a way, even if it's 15 minutes a day. I posted in my group, I was babysitting my nephew, and my sister's constantly like, oh, are you sure you can babysit? How are you going to get work done if you're babysitting? And my nephew doesn't even watch the screen when I'm together with him. So like, he just thinks it's hilarious because he'll sit beside me, and I made I give him an old keyboard. I'm like, here, he's 6 months. I'm like, you type, I gotta type. And he'll just go, like he'll just smack it, try to eat it. And I'm like, okay, what kind of content are you writing? And he just gives me, that's great content. And I took a picture, I was feeding him. He was sitting on my waist or my chest. I was feeding him. I was like, I took a picture. I'm like, I'm doing this while I'm writing this post. It doesn't have to be and that's what I want to teach my women entrepreneurs. Like, even if it's 15 minutes a day, I'm going to find a way to help you get successful. It doesn't have to look like everybody else. It doesn't have to mean neglecting the things that you love, because there's a lot of moms out there who have so much guilt that they can't let it go. And who are we to say that they have to? So I'm going to show them, okay, your baby's sleeping. Here's an opportunity while you're holding your baby, because some people baby sleep, who cares? Take 15 minutes and just say hello to a few people. Just say hello to somebody. One, you're having an adult conversation, which is great for moms and people in general, and like, two, you're getting visibility.
Yeah.
And then if you have a friend come over and be like, awesome, you're here. I'm going to take a 15-minute shower and then I'm going to come back. If you just give me 30 minutes, I'm going to write some content. Bam. You have 2 posts go out for the week and you don't have to think about it anymore. Yeah. So like, that's my mission in life.
The other half of that phrase that you mentioned, if there's a desire in your heart, you will find a way. But if you really don't want it, or I'm adding this in, if you don't believe you deserve it, you're going to find an excuse. And I challenge anyone listening thinking, I can't have self-care. I don't have time. I have too many kids, whatever. I wanted you to challenge that thought process, because Samantha's brilliant and just gave you 42 different examples of how that you can find that time. And I think that, we try to, I'm going to talk about myself. I remember just like creating these schedules for myself and getting so frustrated when the schedule didn't survive collision with a human. Because they never did. I talked about that on my last episode, that they never survive collision with another person. And so I stopped creating schedules where I felt like I needed to follow this, because I'm a rule follower. And I started creating guidelines of like, or, to-do lists. I heard on a podcast today, I think someone called it a priority list. I don't remember the name of the podcast I was listening today, but she was basically very clear about what her priorities are. And so was it you that said you start working at 9? I think she starts working at 9 too, but that before she starts working at 9, she's done her exercise and her journaling and her all of this, that, and the other thing, all of the things that are important to her. And she homeschools her 2 kids, like all of the things, but, and she's busy. I know you're busy. We're all busy, but she's doing the things that are important to her first. Mm-hmm. And if you're not familiar with, or if you don't know what your priorities are, then a lot of times your needs aren't getting met.
Yeah. I heard this. I'm ADHD. I don't know if you guys can tell just by watching this video and how the fact that I probably haven't looked at the screen like half the time we're talking. I apologize. But anyways, I'm talking with my hands. I'm playing with my skirt so I don't dance all over the screen to get myself fidgety. But with me, when I was trying to do that or set goals and I wouldn't reach them, I was an utter failure. My ADHD brain was like, oh my gosh, but I learned that no, I'm not. Because here are the things I was able to accomplish this week that were just as amazing as not being able to complete the goal. Because I'd be like, I need 5 clients by the end of May, bam. And then I forget about all the amazing people I've met, how much networking I've done, and the 2 clients I did sign up, you know what I mean? Like, not everybody's for you. And I was learning my path and my process, and I was process of elimination. Like, okay, this is what I don't want from clients that I'm getting on the phone calls with. This is what I'm looking for on calls that I get on with. Because I got some bad clients. There was a client that me and her were like, nope, sorry. You came off as this, you're not. So, so I do what pretty much that young lady does. I have a flexible schedule. I know that every day, or I do my laundry 3 days a week. And I know that on these days, laundry needs in the washer. I do Stackable Habits. Atomic Habits is an amazing book, and it discusses in more details, but I actually knew this trick from learning to deal with my ADHD. But I throw the laundry in first thing in the morning. Because that's where my laundry is. If you're anything like me, guys, your laundry looks like this. Goes down the chute, dirty laundry basket, into the washer, into the dryer, sits in the laundry basket forever. So I'm also one of those weird people that fold right out of the laundry, and we have a giant table right next to our dryer. So I fold it all, organize it, and it stays there. So when I'm downstairs picking out new clothes for the day, I am putting a new load in on those 3 particular days. And then when I go down to get my kids' clothes for the day, because I don't grab them all at the same time, I'm like, oh, shoot, my brain is, oh yeah, don't forget to put the washer into the dryer. So I'm accomplishing 2 things at the same time, which makes me feel awesome, but also reminds me to get my chores done. And then while I'm cooking breakfast, I do my dishes, because dishes are important, or I don't get to eat dinner because I won't have any dishes. So those things are done. But in the morning, I prioritize a flexible schedule of me working out and stuff. And people are like, well, I'm too exhausted this day to work out, or I just don't have the energy to do big workouts. And that's completely fine. Sometimes my workout is just a small yoga stretch. Sometimes it's a 30-minute low impact little Grow with Joe. She's an amazing YouTuber. Her workouts are like 30 minutes of walking, and you burn like 500 calories or whatever. It's amazing. Grow with Joe. Check her out if you want to. Low impact, which is amazing because I can't do high impact because of my leg. But with somebody living with chronic pain, I have learned that I have to simplify, break down, and chunk things because it will not get done. And then I have to let go of the rest. Yeah. If it doesn't get done, it's okay. It will find time. And then I remember that I have kids and a husband who lives here too, and that I am not a maid. I am not their mother. I am 2 of their mothers, but this is their place too, that they could help. So I start delegating. I'm like, you're old enough now. You can throw things in the dishwasher for me, and mommy will turn it on in the morning. Or, hey guys, if you would just pick up, oh my gosh, you don't know how clean a house looks if your kids would just pick up the garbage and the pieces of paper they leave everywhere.
Right.
and take it to the trash. I also do a clean as you go. So my schedule goes like, if a part of my schedule takes me somewhere else, I'm like, okay, well, heading into the kitchen, here are like 4 dirty dishes on the way to the kitchen. Just gonna bring them with me.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know, I live a life of simplicity because honestly, who has time for complexity, you know? And that's another thing that I teach my clients. It's like, there are simpler ways to do things, and we just tend to overreact as humans.
Yeah.
And we tend to make things more complicated than it needs to be.
100%. And the time tracking that you mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
I've used that on a couple of my clients as well. And it only sort of backfired on me one time.
Oh no.
And by backfire, what I mean is I was expecting her to find all this free time that she has where she could work her business. And what came out of it, so that's what I was expecting. So that's how it backfired, is it didn't meet my expectation. What happened was she realized that she had way too much on her plate. And that was huge for her, because then she could stop beating herself up for not doing the side business, because her job that's paying the bills was taking up way too much of her time. And we learned that, or I should say I learned, she probably knew already, that she was working 80 hours a week on salary, overworking herself, and then expecting to build a coaching business on top of that.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, something's got to give here. And I think that she really did kind of lay off of herself at that point. So that tool is powerful either way. And my expectation was she was going to find a bunch of extra time, because that was my experience. I found a bunch of extra time where I'm wasting a lot of time. But it was still impactful for her, where it's like, you know, we're only human, and we can only do so much. Yeah. Is there a piece of advice that you want to share with moms?
Yeah, it's pretty much something I've been saying this entire time, but simplicity does equal success. It's something I tell everybody all the time, that when everybody's telling you to do everything, that's just simply not true. You can do the simplest things and, you know, still be successful. You just have to really define what success means to you, and then figure out how to do it. And it might mean just taking a little chunk of that and doing it now. And then as you find more time and your kids go to school, or whatever the situation may be, maybe you get enough money to hire a nanny or hire a housekeeper or something, or delegate some part of your business, then you can continue to grow. And you'll also learn that you're still being very simple, just growing exponentially more successful.
And the other thing that you said earlier that I wanted to highlight was that you did say that you're a morning person.
Yes.
And so you got up an extra hour early. And there are gurus that will tell you, get up an hour before everybody else. And that's a blanket statement for everybody. And it's like, yeah, I'm a morning person. You're a morning person. If you told my boyfriend to get up an hour early, he would laugh in your face and probably throw his coffee on you. I don't know. Like, he's not a morning person at all. Like, he barely drags himself out of bed in time to get to work at 8:30. Like, and by that time, I've been awake for 3 hours. And I'm like, I've literally had to rein myself in when I see him in the morning, because I have that energy in the morning and he doesn't. And we're the opposite in the evening, where he'll stay up a couple extra hours longer than me and my son do. And that's his rhythm. Like,
yeah.
and same with a friend of mine, like we are part of the same company, and in that company they have the 5 o'clock club. And I actually was seeing a post, a memory of mine, where I was like, I joined the 5 o'clock club. I don't think I was a morning person at that point, or I wasn't getting enough sleep, whatever the case was, but I was really excited. I got up at 5. And she's like, I'd rather die and get up at 5, but she'll stay up till 11 or midnight doing stuff. And there's no way I am a pumpkin at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, people like I turn off my phone at 8. I'm down. So, like, I have my chronic pain causes me pain insomnia sometimes. So like, yeah. I always ask people, is 3 a.m. morning or night for you? For me, it's morning. 3 a.m. is morning for me. Some people are like, no, that's the middle of the night. I'm like, okay, well, that's a difference of opinion. And I know how it's morning and night people, but there's also afternoon people. And people don't understand that sometimes. I know a lot of people who don't hit their stride until like 1 or 2. And that's completely okay too. If you are just barely making it through, but at 2 o'clock you're ready to roll, write your content then. Do the things that take creativity, inspiration, and motivation to get done. Do it then. If it's laundry or dishes or mopping your floors, do it when you're just getting through the day. Yeah. Do those activities that don't require brain work, but save the rest of it, like the bookkeeping, the whatever. Scroll through your Facebook. I told this to somebody and they didn't believe me. You don't have to be a morning person or a night person or even an afternoon person to just scroll through your Facebook, right? Like, how often do we just scroll mindlessly through Instagram, right?
Too often.
Yeah. Every time you like a post, the algorithm is telling itself, hey, this person is active and their content needs to be shown. The important part, the part that takes a little bit of more cautious thought on yours is this somebody I want to connect with? And if it's so, then like and comment. You know what I mean? Instead of just mindlessly scrolling for 15 minutes while you're binge watching a show, like and comment if it's somebody you want to connect with. Because what is that person going to do? They're going to look and be like, oh, this was a great comment. Who is this person? And most people, if they're snoopy and curious enough and have an extra 6 seconds, they're going to look at your profile. And if it's set up properly, they're going to want to know more, and they're going to scroll on your stuff. And that right there tells the algorithms that you need to be seen, and it will help grow your visibility. So even if you're mindlessly scrolling through Facebook with no real intention of engaging with people, you can do that while you're sitting on the toilet. And how many times have we just mindlessly scrolled while sitting on the toilet? That's time for engagement. I mean, the person that you're commenting on doesn't need to know you're sitting on the toilet, but like, just be like, and people are like, well, what do I comment? Well, why did you like the post? Was it the music? Was it their hair? Did you like what they wrote? What did it make you feel? People overthink things. And sometimes it's just a simple, oh my gosh, this spoke to me, is a great enough post, like comments. It doesn't have to be, yes, this stirred my emotions and I overcame with fear of power and I'm ready to take on the world. I mean, if that's you, do it. If it's a smiley face, like this made me smile face, do it. If it was something like those shoes really caught my attention, I didn't even read your post, love those shoes, write that. Yeah. People are going to take notice and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, they commented. You're boosting them up. That you're drawing visibility and curiosity. And if you do it enough time to the same person, they're going to be like, who the heck keeps commenting on my stuff? And they're going to go look. So yeah, anyways.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And if you're interested, if you're listening and you're interested, there's, ow.
What are you
doing? Yeah, something just fell on my foot. Anyway. There's nothing but reality on this podcast. The dog is very interested in being under my desk. There's a book called The Power of When, and it talks about the 4 types. And there's a dolphin and a lion and a bear and let's see if my son says what the other one is. There's another one. And I always wanted to be a lion because that's my last name.
I remember that, and you said that in my podcast. It's funny how far you've come in podcasting.
I talked about the 4 sleep types, or that I wanted to be a lion.
No, that you wanted to be a lion. Like that was one of the conversations we had on my podcast.
That's hilarious. I'll have to go back and listen to that. It's funny because I saw a post. I was a guest on somebody else's channel, and he was talking about, he's known me since I started my coaching journey, before I even wanted to be a coach. And he was talking about me being a leader and this, that, and the other thing. And then I saw this post in my memories that said, "What kind of cat are you?" And it said I was a lion. Aww. With the qualities of a leader and a bunch of the other stuff that he said. And I was like, that's so crazy how that kind of stuff just shows up. But I have a picture of me, you've probably seen it, where half of my face is a lion and the other half is my face. And I was on a call with with my life coach, and he said something about Alysia and her lion. And he goes, "I've literally seen that picture for as long as you've had that picture as your Zoom profile. And I just realized that's your last name."
I love it. I love it. I think that's how it came around. I think I asked you how you, like, if it was lion, if that's how you pronounced your last name. You're like, yes. I was like, it's cool that your profile picture is half lion. You're like, yeah. Okay. There you go.
Okay, share a book that I know I think you're currently reading.
Yes, I'm currently reading this. It's awesome because it's also on YouTube for audio. If you guys don't have time to read, 25-minute walk, you literally can read a chapter. But it's Jen Sincero, You Are a Badass. Any of her books, I read the Habit one, the Money one. I'm just rereading this one because every time I read it, each chapter is like a different aha moment. And she's hilarious. Yeah. I was telling you, I'm reading 2 books right now. Dean Koontz, the Jane Hawkes series. I'm on the last one, sadly. I kind of don't want to finish it. But that's my entertainment. And then this one's supposed to be my personal, but she's so hilarious. And I love how insightful she is and how she uses her own personal life to really like tell the story. But so that's kind of an entertainment book too. But I love it's on audio. So like if I don't get it to read it in the morning for whatever reason, because, you know, we all have those mornings where like our self-care routine doesn't go out, I just put it on my phone, listen to it while I do dishes.
Yeah.
It counts.
It does. It's, you know, there's so many ways that we can, I think I talked about this last podcast too, but we can chunk our time and chunk our activities or layer stuff where, you know, I talked about yesterday where I like to get gas at Costco. I recorded it yesterday. It was last week's podcast. Okay. But I like to go to Costco to get gas, but I don't live next door to Costco. So Costco is a little out of the way, but I make sure that I go and do something else in that area. And there's 3 different Costcos and there's always something to do in one of those areas. So it's just chunking the time and chunking the activities and stacking. I can listen, or I can do the dishes and I can listen to a podcast at the same time. I literally listen to so much personal development stuff while I'm mindlessly doing something. I'm never not listening to something that's growing me unless I've had too much of that during the day. And then I'll watch, you know, Keep Up with the Kardashians or something. So I'm not a robot.
Yeah.
You know, or I'll watch Buffy. Again for the 48th time.
You know what? It really, you can't get over it because every time I watch it, my ADHD brain, like I watched the OG Charmed, not the newest one, but the OG ones. And every time I watch the series, okay, in order, I always pay attention to something new. For instance, every time you see a stunt double or The Wires or breasts or like their outfits being slightly different in each frame and things like that. I pay attention every single time, and every time, like, it's just creating new ways of getting my brain involved into the show. So
yeah,
there's
I do the opposite. I don't want my brain involved. It's just background noise for me. So it's just a way to tune out and shut down, you know, the overactivity. So that's why I like to rewatch stuff. I actually just restarted Friends right before we got on our call because I was tired and I just wanted to zone out. And so I turned Friends on, and then we started talking about all the shows that you're making me want to watch.
Okay. So I know we were about to end this, but you were talking about stacking and stuff, and you reminded me of this. I actually talked about this a while ago in my group, but I actually dance while I do laundry, and I have this whole exercise routine of how I fold my laundry. It's like a little line dance routine that I do, but like I do squats to grab it, and then I line dance, and then when I'm folding, I'm doing like my biceps and stuff. It's so hilarious, but like I did a video on it and everything. There are ways to get it done.
Yeah. And there's something about, I bet you don't hate laundry.
Oh no, I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, because while I'm doing the wash, like I said, I'm just picking out my morning clothes, and then while I'm folding them, I'm dancing and working out. So,
and finding ways of keeping your mood elevated like that is really, really powerful.
Yes, yes it is.
Where can our listeners find you?
So I mostly hang out on LinkedIn. I know a lot of people aren't there, but I do hang out on Facebook a lot. Okay, I hang out on all the platforms equally, which is something I try to tell my clients not to do. But like for me, it's all about that's what I do, and I spend it wisely. But I also have a Facebook group I love to hang out with, and it's Mompreneur Social Break Room. And it's just because of that. It's a social place to just take a break. And I give advice and all that good stuff. And I'm sure I'll give you the links and stuff. I'm on Instagram, but not really. It's not a place to have a conversation. It's basically just a place to show off. So I don't know. As a social media marketer, I should be like, oh yeah, Instagram, but to each its own platform. Okay, that's what I teach my clients. If you don't like it, you don't have to like it. But you can find me over there too. I answer. I just prefer not to.
You just don't like to post and hang out there.
Yeah, it's a copy and paste platform for me. That's what I tell people. I'm like, this is my copy and paste platform. Everywhere else, there's effort. This one's just minimal, which is okay.
Well, thank you for joining us today. And I actually reached out to you because I remember, I think I was your first podcast guest, and I was like, hey, I need to reciprocate.
I appreciate it. This was so much fun.
Yeah, it was. And you've evolved since we talked last. Like I see a huge difference in you. So hiring coaches actually helps. Who would have thought?
Yeah, who would have? Because like it's all about truly. Me and my coach discussed this, so I'm going to tell you guys, hire a coach, because it's like when you tell your children you can literally tell them exactly where to find something. And this is you doing your DIY coaching, okay? Your books are telling you exactly where to find something, and you're like, okay, yeah, but I looked. The coach is like your mom. We're going to take your hand. They're going to take your hand and literally walk you over exactly where they described it, move that one piece of paper that you just refuse to touch, and find successfully what you were looking for. That's what a coach does. So here you are doing DIYing it. Your mom's telling you exactly, I mean, step-by-step instruction. You're doing it yourself, but you're not getting the results. And you're like hitting yourself over the head going, Mom, I looked everywhere. I read all the books. And then your coach is going to go, oh, well, did you move this? And then boom, success. That's what a coach does.
And I'm dying laughing because that exact scenario happened right before we hit record, where I told my son that to go get his Hot Pocket out of the freezer And he's like, I don't know where it is. We have more than one freezer. And I'm like, oh, you're going to come and I'm going to show you. And then I'm going to teach you how to open it. And I'm going to teach my 10-year-old how to put a Hot Pocket inside the sleeve. And then I'm going to teach him how to put it on the plate.
But that's exactly what Coach does. And when I said that to her, she's like, can you use that in my content? I'm like, absolutely. So
I'm literally going to jump off this
yes,
Zoom. No. I'm going to jump off this Zoom and I'm going to go into my eSchool for Coaches Facebook page and I'm going to tell them that analogy because it's so good.
Very welcome. Anybody feel free to use that because, like, I don't know. I love analogies and things like that because, like,
yeah, so good. Again, thank you for being here, and we'll have another episode of Imperfect Momming for you next week. And until then, keep healing. Bye, guys.
Thank you for tuning in to Imperfect Momming. It's time for us to step up and realize that our power is not in trying to shape our children. Our power lies in shaping ourselves into the people we want our children to model themselves after. Don't just do it for your kids. Do it for yourself. When you become a more self-aware, compassionate, and confident person, you and everyone around you benefit. For more information about me and my work, visit AlysiaLyons.com. That's AlysiaLyons.com. See you next time.